This is Jessie, JJ4, and before watching this video, if you have a significant other or spouse, you need to go and get them, because this is going to be on some sex stuff. Hi, this is Jessie, JJ4 in the front right now, and we are integrating a lot better than we have been, maybe because we've been doing videos on here. So I just wanted to talk just a little bit about our beliefs on sex. We believe that when you marry someone or when you decide to be in a relationship with someone, you should not betray that trust. You should not look at other women or men in that way. You should not be inappropriate with anybody else. Well, you shouldn't be inappropriate with your significant other either, but you definitely shouldn't be inappropriate with other people outside of your relationship. That's a betrayal, and that's one of the greatest hurts that you can cause to someone. I will tell you totally honestly, I have never betrayed someone like that. Not even whenever I was in middle school and high school. I think that stems from Jude. What is that hair doing? I think that stems from Jude and just her strict following of the rules. But we have let some of those rules go because some of the rules on sex in the Bible are just too restrictive. And maybe they were that restrictive at some point in order to protect women, to protect children, because it was a very violent society, and it still is. But most women nowadays are more free, and they should be. They definitely should be more free and equal. So they should have the right to choose their partners without being called a whore. Where a man is kind of celebrated for the multiple partners that they have. Does that mean that my system and I go out and have sex with everyone? No. We believe that that's a very special thing for us. Now, we don't pass judgment on you if you're going out and you've got somebody different every night. And as long as they're aware of the situation, that is your decision. That is just not something that we do. Mainly because Jude is still kind of hung up on those old-fashioned rules. And she does not like, she doesn't like people touching her anyway. So she definitely doesn't want anyone touching her that's not going to be around for a while. And so that's kind of our view on it. I have been married twice, and I'm not going to go into specifics about why those marriages ended, but it was a biblical reason, although not exactly, because the Bible does not say that a woman has the right to divorce. The Bible just says that a man has the right to divorce under certain circumstances. And that's why, we kind of read into it that a woman does too. And that's why we would have probably anyway, because we were not good matches with our significant others. But we would never, ever, 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 ever cheat, because that's just such a betrayal and such a hurt to do on someone that thinks that you are their person. And when you are someone's person, you should not betray them in that way. So with any sex videos that we post where we're going to be talking about sex, or Harper is very, very crude, and she finds sex funny in certain circumstances. And she also has a very dirty mind. For example, if she loves Adam Sandler, she loves Tenacious D, she loves Flight of the Conchords. Too Many Dicks on the Dance Floor is a favorite song of hers. She just finds that hilarious. She likes crude comedians and people that point out things about our society, hang-ups about our society, because we are not, even though we follow a lot of our teachings from the past, we mainly do it so that Jude will not be hurt, because she's kind of hung up about it, and she doesn't like to be touched by a lot of people. And so therefore it needs to be someone that she trusts, and someone that she's in a relationship with, and someone that she can imagine maybe be married to. But she still has a lot of old defaults. For example, one day we were driving past where our first ex-husband lives, and just all of a sudden in my mind, I hear, that's the road to my husband's house. And he was not a good choice for us. Maybe he is a good choice for someone else, but he was not a good choice for us. So, and I don't think that even if we were not allowed to divorce him according to biblical laws, we should have divorced him, because we were not well matched. I chose a lot of men in the past that did not that I'm saying that he didn't respect me, because I do feel that he and Bre kind of had a thing going on, and so did Bre she's not very respectful anyway. Or she wasn't. She's getting better. So, so when you have damaged issues within your brain, and we all do, it does pose a difficult situation as far as relationships go. So, so with that said, we are going to post stuff on sex, because that's a big part of who we are. We do believe that you should explore your sexual health. We do find orgasms to be a gift from God, and a way to even be closer to God. In fact, when this is maybe too much information, but when Jude has an orgasm, she always says thank you, because you join with the rest of the universe in that split second. And that's why they call it the tiny death, is because it is. It's very spiritual if you allow it to be spiritual, and also very feral if you want it to be feral. Harper is more feral, whereas Jude is more spiritual. So they have different ways that they kind of see sex, and Bre and I are kind of in between. We would like to ask you, though, that anytime that we post something sexual, we are going to have a disclaimer at the beginning of it, because you do not need to be watching anything about sex without your spouse, or without your spouse's approval. So, and I know that that sounds really judgmental, but we are not going to be a party to your betrayal of your spouse. We're just not. So, at the beginning of every video, when we do discuss sex, we are going to have a disclaimer at the beginning of it and just say, if you are viewing this in order to feel something sexual without your spouse or your significant other, you need to go and get them and share this with them and become more sexual healthy within your relationship instead of looking for it outside of your relationship. Because we don't want to be a party to that. We just don't. We do like to feel sexy. We are looking for a significant other ourselves, but we really don't think that anybody that's out there is gonna want all 4 of us crazy girls, because we all have weird stuff going on inside of our heads, or our head, because we are all within the same body. So, and most of you guys have problems going on too. So we're really not ready at this point. But we definitely don't want married men looking at us in that way. And we kind of did explore. There was a group on Facebook that we explored where we took sexy pictures once we started losing a little bit of weight, and took some sexy pictures on there. And through Facebook Messenger, we kind of communicated a little bit with some guys and shared some sexy pictures. But now that we are more fully integrated, we do not want anyone who's in a relationship or married to be looking at us in that way. You need to go and talk to your significant other. You need to make things good with them. And if you can't make things good with them, then you need to end it. Because that's not a good way to live. You should not live in a relationship where where you don't have sexual health, because that is a gift that we've been given. It is. So that's kind of our disclaimer about that, because there's kind of a crude one that Harper is wanting to post, and so we just want to get that out here before we allow her to post it. And we're going to have a short little disclaimer at the beginning of each one that says, go get your spouse if you're going to watch this. All right. And it's not going to be anything really, I don't know. It's mainly just crude teenage humor, because that's the way that she is. Anything that's private, big time private, we do in private, because my sons do not want to see that kind of stuff. But it is important, just like Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth provided a very important service to the world, and more people need to talk about it, because by keeping it under wraps, there's shame and guilt involved with it. And there is anyway when you've been in an abusive situation, or when you've had family members that maybe have done inappropriate things. And I'm not just talking about little kid stuff like playing doctor. That's different. They're on an even playing field. But when you've got a grandfather who maybe does things like that to his granddaughters and great-granddaughters and maybe even his daughters, that is inappropriate, and it needs to be discussed. And women do not need to look the other way, and other men do not need to look the other way. And I do think that our society has gotten better with that, But back in the past, it didn't, and it created a lot of generational trauma, some of which I was privy to. So, okay, that's just it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.